My name is Mike, and up until a few months ago, I thought I was living the American dream. I was married to Sarah, a wonderful woman, or so I thought. We met in college, got married after graduation, and settled into what I believed was a happy, stable life in our cozy suburban home. About a year ago, I started noticing little changes. Sarah became more secretive with her phone, spending longer hours at work, though she rarely talked about what she did. She'd often come home late without much explanation and seemed distracted, always lost in thought. At first, I brushed it off as stress from her job or maybe just going through a phase. But the gut feeling that something was off kept gnawing at me. I tried to talk to her about it, hoping to reassure myself that everything was okay. Instead, Sarah would get defensive, accusing me of being paranoid and not trusting her. It hurt, but I didn't want to believe the worst. I convinced myself that she was just stressed and that things would return to normal. Little did I know, my world was about to turn upside down in ways I couldn't have imagined. All right, here comes the twist no one saw coming. Just when I thought things couldn't get any more complicated, life decided to throw me a curveball that completely flipped the script. A few months into noticing Sarah's strange behavior, I decided to take a gamble of my own, literally. I bought a lottery ticket on a whim, thinking it couldn't hurt. I figured, why not dream a little? Fast forward to a Friday night, and I'm sitting on the couch, munching on chips, when I get an alert on my phone. Congratulations! You've won the $25 million jackpot. I still can't believe it. $25 million. My mind was racing with thoughts of paying off debts, securing our future, maybe even taking Sarah and the kids on that dream vacation we never seemed to afford. I called Sarah right away, bubbling with excitement. But her response was cold, distant, nothing like the usual enthusiasm she'd show. I decided to share the news with my best friend, Jake. We went out to celebrate at our favorite bar. Between the drinks and the laughs, Jake started acting weird. He kept looking around nervously, and after a few too many beers, he leaned in and whispered, "Mike, I think you need to see something." Confused and a bit tipsy, I followed him back to his place. Inside, Jake handed me his phone, pointing to a series of messages between Sarah and some guy named Tony. The messages were explicit, talking about last night's crazy sex and making plans to meet up. My heart sank. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Sarah had been cheating on me all along, and now, with this jackpot win, everything was unraveling. I confronted Sarah that very night. I was a mess, anger, betrayal, confusion swirling inside me. But Sarah? She just laughed it off. "Oh, Mike, you think winning the lottery changes anything? You were never enough for me," she sneered. She claimed Tony was just a friend from her yoga class, and that the messages were innocent, but deep down, I knew she was lying. To make matters worse, the next day, out of nowhere, Sarah filed for divorce. According to her, my newfound wealth had made me selfish and changed who I was. But the truth was, she couldn't handle sharing $25 million with someone who wasn't faithful. It felt like a punch in the gut. Winning the jackpot was supposed to be the start of something amazing, but instead, it exposed the rotten core of our marriage. That evening, I decided to confront Sarah face to face. I walked into our living room, lottery ticket still in hand, and found her lounging on the couch, scrolling through her phone. She looked up, her expression shifting from casual to defensive in an instant. "Sarah, we need to talk," I said, trying to keep my voice steady despite the storm raging inside me. She raised an eyebrow, a smirk playing on her lips. "Oh, what's up, Mr. Lottery Winner? Winning the jackpot must have really changed you." Her sarcasm hit me like a ton of bricks. I felt a mix of anger and hurt bubbling up. "Cut the crap, Sarah. I saw the messages between you and Tony. What the hell is going on?" She laughed, a cold, bitter sound. "Tony? Seriously, Mike? He's just a friend from my yoga class. Those texts were harmless. Don't overreact." "Harmless? They were explicit, Sarah. Talking about last night's crazy sex? That's not just harmless. I shot back, my frustration boiling over. She rolled her eyes, clearly unimpressed. Oh, please, don't act like you're some saint here. You've changed since winning that stupid lottery. You're too busy flaunting your money and ignoring me. I took a deep breath, trying to regain control. Ignoring you? I've been trying to talk to you about your sudden secrecy and late nights. Instead, you lie and cheat behind my back. Her demeanor shifted from defensive to downright hostile. You think I care about your money, Mike? I'm done with this pathetic marriage. I'm filing for divorce, and there's nothing you can do about it. Before I could respond, she stood up abruptly, grabbing her purse. Pack your bags, because I'm done wasting my time with you. I stood there, stunned. 1 minute we were discussing our future with $25 million, and the next, she's packing her things and leaving. It felt surreal, like watching my life unravel in slow motion. As she stormed out the door, I realized this wasn't just about the money or her infidelity. It was about trust, respect, and the illusion of our perfect life crumbling in an instant. The man I thought I knew was gone, replaced by someone I barely recognized. Right after Sarah left, I was in shock. The house, once filled with laughter and the sounds of our kids playing, felt eerily silent. I couldn't focus on anything. Work was a nightmare. Friends were avoiding my calls, and even simple tasks like making dinner felt overwhelming. It was like I was drowning in a sea of emotions, anger, sadness, betrayal, and confusion all at once. With the divorce filed, I was thrust into a legal battle I never anticipated. I hired a lawyer, Emily, smart, no-nonsense type, who didn't take any crap from anyone. She explained that the lottery winnings would be considered marital assets, meaning Sarah was legally entitled to a significant portion. Suddenly, my dream win felt like a curse. The thought of dividing $25 million was mind-boggling and stressful enough without the emotional baggage. Just when I thought things couldn't get any stranger, I discovered that Jake, my best friend, wasn't just spilling the beans about Sarah's infidelity. Turns out, he had been involved in some shady business deals himself, and now he's distancing himself from me to protect his own interests. It's like everyone I thought I could trust is either out of reach or unreliable. I feel so alone in this, like I can't turn to anyone for support. In the midst of all this mess, I met Laura, a counselor at a support group I reluctantly joined. She's been a lifeline, helping me navigate the emotional turmoil. Talking to her has been therapeutic, and for the first time in weeks, I feel like I'm starting to see a way forward. It's not easy, but having someone who understands makes a huge difference. My kids are my anchor in all of this. They're devastated by the divorce, especially since they didn't fully understand what was happening. I'm trying my best to shield them from the worst of it, but some days they catch me in tears, and it breaks my heart. Balancing being a parent and dealing with my own emotions is incredibly challenging, but their smiles and hugs keep me going. Despite the jackpot, the reality of managing such a large sum is intimidating. I've started meeting with financial advisors to ensure that I don't blow through the money, especially with the impending divorce settlement. It's a whole new world of responsibility that I'm still trying to wrap my head around. The pressure to make the right decisions is immense, and the fear of making a mistake is always looming. Amidst all the chaos, I'm trying to find moments of personal growth. I've picked up running again, something I used to love before the stresses of marriage and work took over. It's become a form of therapy for me, each mile a way to clear my mind and regain some sense of control. It's slow progress, but it's a start. One of the hardest parts is rebuilding my sense of trust, not just in others, but in myself. I used to believe that hard work and dedication would keep everything together, but now I'm questioning so many things. It's a painful process, but I know I need to go through it to heal and move forward. I won't lie, there are days when the weight of everything feels unbearable. But I'm starting to see that this could be an opportunity for a fresh start. It's not the life I envisioned, but maybe it's a chance to rediscover who I am outside of my marriage and the expectations that came with it. Just when I thought I had a handle on things, life threw another curveball. I received a letter from an anonymous sender claiming to have evidence that Sarah was hiding more than just her affair. The letter hinted at financial misconduct and other secrets that could turn the divorce proceedings even more complicated. I have no idea who sent it or if it's even credible, but now I'm left wondering if the nightmare is far from over. It was a chilly Monday morning when the letter arrived. No return address, just my name scrawled across the envelope in neat handwriting. My heart pounded as I tore it open, fearing the worst but hoping for some clarity. Inside was a single sheet of paper with a few cryptic lines. Mike, there's more to Sarah than you know. Meet me at the old marina tonight at 8 p.m. Trust no one. At first, I thought it was another one of Sarah's twisted games, but something in me wanted to believe it was genuine. Maybe someone out there knew the truth and wanted to help. After a sleepless night filled with anxiety and countless what-ifs, I decided to take a chance. I couldn't ignore the possibility that there was more to this story, more lies, more deceit. I needed answers, and if this letter was the key, I had to follow it. That evening, I drove to the old marina, a place filled with memories of better times. The sun was setting, casting long shadows over the water. I parked my car and walked toward the designated meeting spot, my mind racing with questions. Out of the darkness emerged a figure, a middle-aged man with a serious expression. "You must be Mike," he said, his voice low and steady. "Do I know you?" I asked, trying to keep my nerves in check. He shook his head. "No, but I know Sarah. Her real name isn't Sarah Thompson. It's Samantha Reed." My mind was blown. Samantha Reed? That wasn't the name I knew her by. I listened as he continued, revealing that Sarah had a complicated past involving financial fraud and multiple aliases. Apparently, she had a history of manipulating people and situations to her advantage. "He wasn't the first," the man said. "Sarah has a way of reinventing herself, leaving chaos in her wake. Winning the lottery was just another play in her game." I sat there, stunned. All the signs now made a twisted kind of sense. Her secrecy, the lies, the sudden divorce after my jackpot win, it was all part of a larger, more sinister pattern. But why? What did she gain from all this? The man handed me a USB drive. "This has everything: emails, financial records, evidence of her past activities. Use it wisely." Before I could ask any more questions, he turned and walked away, disappearing into the night. Back home, I plugged the USB into my laptop and began sifting through the files. What I found was overwhelming: documents detailing fraudulent investments, forged signatures, and evidence of Sarah's multiple aliases. It was clear she had been running scams long before we met. The betrayal felt deeper than just infidelity. She had been deceiving me about who she was for years. Every memory, every moment together was tainted by her lies. Anger, sorrow, and a sense of profound loss consumed me. How could someone I loved so much be capable of such manipulation? With this new evidence, I knew I had to take action. I contacted Emily, my lawyer, and shared everything. We began strategizing how to use this information to my advantage in the divorce proceedings. This could not only protect my financial interests, but also bring some sense of justice for the deceit I had endured. As if things couldn't get any more intense, I received a call from Laura, the counselor I met at the support group. She'd heard about the letter and wanted to help me navigate this new chapter. Her support has been invaluable, helping me stay grounded amidst the chaos. This revelation has opened up a whole new can of worms. I'm determined to uncover the full extent of Sarah's manipulations and protect myself and my children from any further fallout. It's a daunting task, but with the support of people like Emily and Laura, I'm starting to see a path forward. Just when I thought I was gaining control, another unexpected event occurred. I discovered that some of my financial advisors had been influenced by Sarah's fraudulent schemes. They were either complicit or too scared to speak out. Now, I not only have to deal with the divorce, but also clean up the mess she left behind in my financial affairs. As if the letter and Sarah's true identity weren't enough, the real nightmare began when I had to dive headfirst into the legal and financial chaos she left behind. It's like trying to swim in a hurricane, but here's how it's been unfolding. After meeting with Emily, my lawyer, things moved quickly. We scheduled a meeting to go over the evidence Sarah had been hiding. Emily was impressed by the USB's contents. This wasn't just infidelity. It was a treasure trove of fraudulent activities that could turn the divorce into a full-blown legal war. Our first court date was a blur. Walking into the courtroom, I felt a mix of fear and determination. Sarah strutted in with her usual arrogance, trying to act like she was the victim. Emily presented the evidence, and it was a game-changer. The judge was visibly taken aback by the extent of Sarah's deceit. Sarah's lawyer tried to downplay everything, claiming the evidence was circumstantial, and that I was using it to manipulate the divorce settlement. But with Emily's relentless questioning and the undeniable proof, the court started to see Sarah for who she really was. Just when I thought things were starting to go my way, another twist hit. During the proceedings, Sarah's lawyer unveiled a supposedly new piece of evidence, a forged document that suggested I had hidden assets. Panic set in as I realized Sarah was trying to drag me deeper into her web of lies. Emily wasn't having it. She immediately filed a motion to dismiss the forged document, presenting expert testimony that proved it was indeed a fake. The judge sided with us, further weakening Sarah's position and exposing her tactics as manipulative and deceitful. With the legal battles intensifying, my financial situation took a nosedive. Some of my trusted financial advisors turned out to be compromised, either through fear of Sarah's influence or direct involvement in her schemes. I had to fire them all and find new ones who could help navigate the tangled mess of investments and assets she'd tainted. Finding trustworthy financial advisors was like searching for a needle in a haystack. After several disappointing meetings, I finally found Mark and Lisa, a seasoned duo who specialized in helping clients recover from financial fraud. They were patient, thorough, and most importantly, honest, qualities I desperately needed right now. Mark and Lisa began the arduous task of untangling the financial knot Sarah had tied. They identified fraudulent investments, traced unauthorized transactions, and started the process of reclaiming lost funds. It was painstaking work, but slowly, I began to see a glimmer of hope amidst the financial wreckage. Balancing the courtroom drama with the financial chaos was emotionally draining. Every day felt like a battle, not just against Sarah, but against the fear and uncertainty that loomed over my future. I often found myself questioning my decisions, wondering how things spiraled so out of control so quickly. In the midst of this turmoil, an unexpected ally emerged, Tom, a former coworker I hadn't spoken to in years. He heard about my situation and offered his expertise in financial law. With Tom's help, we uncovered more of Sarah's shady dealings, strengthening our case and providing additional leverage in the divorce settlement. The turning point came during a pivotal hearing where we presented all the evidence of Sarah's fraudulent activities. The court recognized the severity of her actions, ruling in my favor and granting me a more substantial share of the lottery winnings. It felt like a small victory in an otherwise relentless battle, but it was a crucial step toward reclaiming my life. It was a gray Tuesday morning when Emily, my rock during this entire ordeal, showed up at my doorstep unannounced. I wasn't expecting her, especially not outside of our scheduled meetings. Her usual composed demeanor seemed slightly off, hinting that she had something important to share. "Mike, we need to talk," she said, her eyes serious. We sat down in my cluttered living room, papers and legal documents scattered everywhere. "I've been digging deeper into Sarah's financial dealings," Emily began. "There's something you need to see. It's bigger than we initially thought." She handed me a folder filled with documents, photos, and a USB drive. My heart raced as I flipped through the contents. Evidence of offshore accounts, shell companies, and connections to some shady figures I hadn't heard of before. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Emily recommended bringing in a professional, Detective Ryan Matthews, a seasoned investigator with a knack for uncovering hidden truths. I met Ryan a few days later at a local cafe. He was sharp, with a no-nonsense attitude that immediately put me at ease. "From what I can see, Sarah wasn't just a fraudster," Ryan explained, tapping his pen against the table. "She was part of a larger network. These documents suggest involvement in money laundering and possibly even identity theft on a national scale." My mind was reeling. Not only had Sarah deceived me, but she was also entangled in criminal activities that could have far-reaching implications. This wasn't just about our divorce anymore. It was a battle against a sophisticated web of deceit. As we delved deeper, another unexpected event surfaced. Tom, the former coworker who had helped us uncover more of Sarah's schemes, reached out to me with alarming news. He confessed that he had been coerced into providing false testimonies against Sarah during the initial divorce hearings. Fearful for his safety, he had stayed silent until now. "I thought I could protect myself by staying out of it," Tom admitted, his voice shaky. "But now, with all this new evidence, I realized I owe you the truth." This revelation hit me hard. Trust was a fragile thing, and just when I thought Tom was an ally, I found out he had his own reasons for deception. It was a painful reminder that betrayal can come from the most unexpected places. With the new evidence piling up, Emily and Ryan decided it was time to take the fight to a broader audience. We reached out to a reputable investigative journalist, Lisa Harper, who specialized in financial crimes. Her involvement meant that Sarah's actions would be exposed to the public, adding pressure to the legal proceedings. The media attention was a double-edged sword. On one hand, it provided the necessary spotlight to bring Sarah's fraudulent activities to light. On the other, it invaded my privacy and subjected my family to public scrutiny. Our quiet suburban life was now under the microscope, and the stress was mounting. Amidst the legal and financial turmoil, my personal life began to unravel further. The constant stress took a toll on my health. Headaches, sleepless nights, and a lingering sense of anxiety became my new normal. My relationship with my kids suffered too. They were confused and scared by the whirlwind of events, and I struggled to be the supportive father they needed while grappling with my own pain. One evening, after a particularly grueling day, I found my youngest, Emma, sitting alone in her room. She looked up with tear-filled eyes and said, "Dad, why is everything so messed up? Is it your fault?" Her innocence broke something inside me. I hugged her tightly, promising her that everything would be okay, even though I wasn't so sure myself. Balancing being a parent and dealing with the chaos felt like walking a tightrope, and I feared one wrong step could send everything crashing down. Just when I was feeling completely isolated, Megan stepped into my life. She was a lawyer from another firm, specializing in cybercrimes, and had a reputation for taking on tough cases. We met through Ryan, who thought her expertise could shed light on some of the more intricate aspects of Sarah's schemes. Megan was different from anyone I'd worked with before. She was fiercely intelligent, compassionate, and had a knack for making me feel understood. Her presence was a beacon of hope in the darkness, and I found myself opening up to her in ways I hadn't with anyone else. "Mike, we're going to get to the bottom of this," she assured me one afternoon as we reviewed the latest evidence. "Sarah may have thought she could outsmart everyone, but she underestimated your resilience." After weeks of relentless investigation, Megan made a breakthrough. She discovered a hidden network of transactions that linked Sarah to several high-profile financial frauds across the country. This wasn't just a one-woman show. It was an entire operation, and Sarah was the mastermind. Presenting this new evidence in court was a game-changer. The judge was now fully aware of the extent of Sarah's deceit, not just within our marriage, but on a much larger scale. It solidified my case, making it clear that Sarah was not only unfaithful but also a criminal mastermind who had been manipulating everyone around her for her gain. The roller coaster of emotions continued. There were moments of triumph when new evidence emerged, but they were often followed by crushing setbacks. Deadlines missed, financial advisors backing out, and the constant fear that more surprises were lurking just around the corner. Through it all, Megan and Ryan became pillars of strength. Their unwavering support and dedication kept me grounded, reminding me that I wasn't alone in this fight. My relationship with Emily also deepened, evolving from purely professional to something more personal. We shared late-night conversations, not just about the case, but about our lives and fears. As we pieced together Sarah's history, we uncovered connections to some of the most notorious financial criminals in the country. It became clear that Sarah had been a key player in orchestrating elaborate fraud schemes, using her charm and intelligence to manipulate investors and evade capture for years. One night, Megan and I decided to visit an old acquaintance of Sarah's, hoping to gain more insight into her operations. We met with Greg Thompson, an ex-business partner who had severed ties with Sarah years ago after suspecting her true intentions. "Sarah was always one step ahead," Greg recalled, shaking his head. "She had this ability to make you believe she was the real deal while she was planning her next move. It wasn't personal, it was all about the money and the power." His testimony added another layer to the complex web of deceit Sarah had spun, further solidifying our case and painting a clearer picture of the woman I thought I knew. Just when we thought we had the upper hand, Sarah's legal team pulled another unexpected maneuver. They filed for a restraining order, alleging that I had been harassing her and putting our children in danger. It was a blatant attempt to derail our progress and paint me in a negative light. Emily wasted no time in countering the move, gathering evidence of my involvement in the case and demonstrating that the restraining order was nothing more than a desperate ploy to gain sympathy and stall the proceedings. The judge saw through the tactic, dismissing the restraining order and chastising Sarah's legal team for their unethical behavior. After Megan's breakthrough in uncovering Sarah's extensive network, we were determined to dig even deeper. Detective Ryan and I spent countless nights poring over financial records, tracing every dollar that had moved through Sarah's various shell companies. The more we uncovered, the more intricate and far-reaching her schemes appeared to be. One evening, as I was reviewing documents with Megan, Ryan called with urgent news. "Mike, you need to come down to the office right away. We've got something big." Heart pounding, I rushed to the police station, where Ryan greeted me with a grave expression. "We just received information about an offshore account linked to Sarah that hasn't been traced yet. It's connected to a major money laundering operation involving several high-profile individuals." This new lead meant we were stepping into dangerous territory. The account was tied to an international network, and there was no telling who else was involved or how far-reaching their influence was. Megan, Ryan, and I knew that exposing this network could not only secure my financial future, but also bring down a significant criminal enterprise. "We need to move quickly," Megan said, her determination evident. "This could be the key to everything." As we delved deeper, the risks intensified. It wasn't long before subtle threats began to surface. I received anonymous phone calls late at night, filled with veiled warnings to back off. At first, I tried to ignore them, chalking them up to the stress and paranoia. But the calls became more frequent and menacing. One night, as I was leaving Megan's office, a black van pulled up alongside my car. The window rolled down, and a voice snarled, "Stay out of things that don't concern you, Mike." My heart raced as the van sped away, leaving me shaken and more determined than ever to see this through. Amidst the intimidation, an unexpected ally stepped forward, Lisa Harper, the investigative journalist we had enlisted. She had been working tirelessly to gather public support and expose the truth about Sarah's criminal activities. Lisa arranged a meeting in a secluded cafe to discuss her findings. "Mike, what we're dealing with is bigger than just your divorce," she explained, sliding a folder across the table. "These individuals have deep pockets and extensive connections. But with your story and the evidence we have, we can bring them down." Her support was a beacon of hope, reminding me that there were people willing to fight alongside me. Together, we strategized on how to use the media to our advantage without compromising the ongoing investigations. While the legal and investigative battles raged on, my personal life was in shambles. The constant stress was taking a toll on my health and my relationships with my children. Emma, my youngest, had become increasingly withdrawn, struggling to understand why her family was falling apart. One afternoon, I found Emma sitting in the backyard, tears streaming down her face. "Dad, I don't want things to be like this. I miss how things used to be," she whispered. Her pain broke me. I realized that in my quest for justice, I had neglected the very people who mattered most. Determined to make things right, I made a conscious effort to spend more quality time with my kids, ensuring they knew they were my priority despite everything else. Just when I thought I had no more surprises, another unexpected twist surfaced. During a routine review of the financial records, Mark and Lisa discovered that one of my new financial advisors, Rebecca, had unauthorized access to my accounts. It turned out she was siphoning funds into an account linked to Sarah's network. Confronting Rebecca was one of the most difficult moments of my life. She was a trusted advisor, someone I believed had my best interests at heart. Her betrayal cut deep, adding another layer of deceit to an already tangled web. "I'm sorry, Mike," she admitted, tears in her eyes. "I was threatened into doing this. They have my family." It was heartbreaking to see someone I trusted fall victim to the same manipulation that Sarah had used on me. With Rebecca's cooperation, we were able to trace additional funds and further dismantle Sarah's financial operations. However, the emotional toll was immense, reminding me that the battle against deceit wasn't just external, it was everywhere. Back in the courtroom, Emily and Megan were relentless. They presented the latest evidence, including Rebecca's unauthorized transactions and the offshore account details. Sarah's legal team tried to discredit the new evidence, but with Detective Ryan's testimony and Lisa Harper's investigative reports, their arguments fell flat. The judge, now fully aware of the magnitude of Sarah's deceit, ruled in my favor on several key points, significantly tilting the divorce settlement in my direction. It was a hard-fought victory, but it came with the realization that the fight was far from over. Amidst the chaos, finding moments of peace became essential. Megan encouraged me to take short breaks, reminding me that burnout would only hinder our progress. I started incorporating meditation and mindfulness practices into my daily routine, helping me manage stress and stay focused. One evening, after a particularly long day, Megan and I decided to take a walk in the park. Under the canopy of stars, she shared her own struggles and fears, fostering a deeper connection between us. It was a reminder that even in the darkest times, human connection and understanding could provide solace. With the media spotlight intensifying, my reputation was on the line. Friends and acquaintances began to distance themselves, unsure of who to trust. Rumors and misinformation spread, painting me in a negative light despite the overwhelming evidence of Sarah's wrongdoing. To combat this, Lisa Harper published a comprehensive expose detailing Sarah's fraudulent activities and my fight to reclaim my life. The article was a turning point, garnering public support and putting additional pressure on the legal system to act decisively against Sarah's network. Despite the relentless challenges, there were moments that rekindled my hope. Seeing my kids smile during our weekend outings, receiving words of encouragement from unexpected corners, and witnessing the gradual dismantling of Sarah's empire fueled my determination to persevere. One afternoon, Megan and I received news that a key member of Sarah's network had been apprehended. It was a significant blow to their operations, and a testament to the progress we were making. Celebrating this small victory reminded me that every step forward, no matter how minor, was a move towards reclaiming my life. After months of intense legal maneuvering, Sarah's defense was running out of steam. With the mounting evidence of her fraudulent activities and multiple betrayals, it was clear that her case was crumbling. Emily, my steadfast lawyer, had outplayed her at every turn. The day of the final hearing arrived, and the courtroom was packed. Friends, family, and even some curious onlookers were there to witness the culmination of this nightmare. I felt a mix of anxiety and determination as I took my seat, knowing that this was the moment that would define my future. Emily stood up and began her closing arguments. She meticulously outlined every deceit Sarah had orchestrated, from the infidelity to the financial manipulations. Detective Ryan provided a compelling testimony, connecting Sarah to a broader network of criminal activities. Lisa Harper's investigative reports had already painted Sarah as a seasoned fraudster in the public eye, adding pressure from all sides. Sarah, looking uncharacteristically vulnerable, tried one last time to sway the judge. "Mike may have won the lottery, but he's lost everything that truly matters," she sneered, attempting to paint herself as the aggrieved party. But the evidence was undeniable, and the courtroom wasn't buying her act. After what felt like an eternity, the judge delivered the verdict. Sarah was found guilty of multiple counts of fraud, identity theft, and breach of trust. The divorce settlement was heavily in my favor, ensuring that I retained a significant portion of the lottery winnings. More importantly, Sarah was ordered to forfeit all illicitly obtained assets and face criminal charges. Relief washed over me as the courtroom emptied. It was over. The legal battles, the sleepless nights, the constant fear. Finally, there was an end in sight. But the victory was bittersweet. The emotional scars were deep, and the road to healing was still long. Despite the legal triumph, my personal life was still in tatters. The stress and trauma had taken a severe toll on my health. I was constantly exhausted, battling anxiety and bouts of depression. My relationships with friends and family had been strained to the breaking point. Trust, once so easily given, was now a fragile concept I struggled to embrace. Emma's condition had worsened. She was now dealing with severe anxiety, often having nightmares about the upheaval in our lives. Seeing her like that broke my heart, and I knew I had to find a way to mend our bond. Just when I thought I couldn't handle any more surprises, an unexpected opportunity arose. Mark and Lisa, my new financial advisors, approached me with a proposition. They had connections in the financial world and believed that with my lottery winnings, I could not only recover from the losses Sarah had inflicted but also build something meaningful from the ashes. They suggested investing in ethical startups and philanthropic ventures, turning my misfortune into a force for good. It was a chance to redefine my purpose and use my newfound wealth to make a positive impact. Initially hesitant, I realized this was the fresh start I desperately needed. Rebuilding my relationships required time, patience, and a lot of honest conversations. I started attending family therapy sessions with Emma, creating a safe space for her to express her fears and frustrations. Slowly, we began to reconnect, finding solace in each other's presence. I also reached out to friends I had distanced myself from, apologizing for my absence and explaining the whirlwind I had been through. Some were receptive, offering their support and understanding, while others remained distant. It was a mixed bag, but each step towards mending these relationships felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. With Mark and Lisa's guidance, I launched a philanthropic foundation aimed at supporting victims of financial fraud and domestic abuse. The foundation's mission was personal. It was a way to turn my pain into purpose and help others avoid the traps that Sarah had set. The initial response was overwhelming. Donations poured in from people who had followed my story, inspired by my resilience and determination to make a difference. It was a validating moment, proving that even in the darkest times, there was light to be found. Amidst the chaos, life had one more surprise in store. Megan, the compassionate lawyer who had become my confidant, expressed her feelings for me. We had grown close through our shared struggles, and her unwavering support had become a cornerstone of my healing process. After much reflection, I realized that opening my heart again was possible. Megan and I began dating, taking things slow and allowing our relationship to grow organically. Her presence brought a sense of normalcy and happiness that I hadn't felt in years. After months of sleepless nights and endless planning, I finally launched the Rebuild Hope Foundation. The mission was clear: to support victims of financial fraud and domestic abuse, providing them with the resources and support they needed to reclaim their lives. The response was overwhelming. Donations poured in from all corners, inspired by my story and the resilience of those affected by deceit. Just as things were starting to look up, another hurdle appeared on the horizon. During the initial setup of the foundation, Mark and Lisa discovered discrepancies in the donated funds. It turned out that a few well-meaning donors had unintentionally contributed to fraudulent accounts linked to Sarah's network. Panic set in as we realized that the shadows of the past were still reaching out to disrupt our efforts. Determined not to let these setbacks derail our mission, I called an emergency meeting with Mark, Lisa, Megan, and Emily. We needed to act fast to trace the funds and prevent any further damage. Megan took the lead, leveraging her cybercrime expertise to track the fraudulent transactions. It was a race against time, and the pressure was immense. Late one night, as we pored over financial records, Megan made a breakthrough. "I found the source of the discrepancies," she announced, her eyes tired but determined. "It's a shell company we hadn't accounted for. If we can shut it down, we can prevent more funds from being misappropriated." With the clock ticking, we coordinated with law enforcement to take down the shell company. The operation was risky. Any misstep could expose us to retaliation from the remaining members of Sarah's network. The tension was palpable as we awaited confirmation that our efforts had been successful. When the news finally came through that the shell company had been dismantled, a collective sigh of relief filled the room. It was a small victory, but it reaffirmed our commitment to the Foundation's mission. However, the incident served as a stark reminder that the shadows of the past were not entirely behind us. Amidst the chaos of running the Foundation and dealing with lingering threats, my personal life was also undergoing significant changes. Megan and I were growing closer, our bond strengthening through shared experiences and mutual support. However, the constant stress was taking its toll on our relationship. There were moments of frustration and exhaustion, but our commitment to each other kept us grounded. One evening, after a particularly long day, Megan and I sat down for an honest conversation. "I know this has been incredibly tough on both of us," she said softly, "but I believe in what you're doing, and I believe in us." Her words were a beacon of hope, reminding me that amidst the turmoil, there was still love and understanding to hold on to. We made a pact to prioritize our relationship, ensuring that we remained each other's support system no matter what challenges lay ahead. Just when things seemed to stabilize, a new ally entered the scene. Jessica Turner, a renowned psychologist specializing in trauma recovery, reached out to me. She had been following my story and was moved by the resilience I and other victims had shown. Jessica offered to collaborate with the Rebuild Hope Foundation, providing counseling services to those in need. Her expertise was invaluable, adding a new dimension to our efforts. With Jessica on board, the foundation could offer comprehensive support, addressing both the financial and emotional scars left by deceit and abuse. Her presence was a testament to the growing network of support surrounding us. Despite the progress, the fear of lingering threats from Sarah's network never fully dissipated. There were nights when the anxiety would grip me, reminding me that the past could resurface at any moment. I started experiencing nightmares, replaying the betrayal and the ensuing chaos. It was a battle I fought daily, striving to maintain my composure for the sake of my children and the Foundation. On a brighter note, Emma's condition had shown signs of improvement. With consistent therapy and our renewed focus on family time, she began to open up about her fears and anxieties. Watching her smile and regain her sense of security was one of the most rewarding aspects of this journey. It reinforced my determination to create a safe and nurturing environment for her and my other children. Amidst the whirlwind of running the Foundation, I received an unexpected invitation. The National Philanthropy Conference was looking for keynote speakers to share their stories and inspire others. Initially hesitant, I realized that sharing my journey could amplify the Foundation's mission and reach a wider audience. After discussing it with Megan and Emily, I decided to accept the invitation. Preparing for the conference was both exhilarating and nerve-wracking. I spent countless hours refining my speech, ensuring that my message was clear and impactful. Megan and Jessica provided invaluable feedback, helping me articulate the importance of resilience and the power of community support. When the day of the conference arrived, I stood on the stage, facing a room filled with philanthropists, activists, and supporters. Taking a deep breath, I began to share my story, not just the pain and betrayal, but also the hope and the steps we were taking to rebuild lives. The response was overwhelming, with many attendees expressing a desire to collaborate and support our cause.